Google Search Console discovered currently not indexed. Google systems. If your website is seeing that for many different URLs on your website, and you looked at some other videos or tutorials trying to tell you what the problem is, this is the video for you. Remember where you're watching this, Rankya YouTube channel. So, what in the world does this mean? This could mean many different things. That's why this is how you troubleshoot this particular issue. So we can press on the tab here, look at what URLs, and say, okay, you know what, these are important URLs. Why is Google not indexing them? So this is what you do. First, you look at your sitemaps and ask yourself this very critical question in terms of that particular problem, discovered currently not indexed. If you've submitted a parent sitemap, typical for many content management systems, using SEO plugins particularly, in this scenario, this would be classified as a parent sitemap. And looking at your website, you have to ask yourself, okay, what's in there? What are you telling Google in terms of the map of your website? So if you've submitted a parent sitemap, perhaps you may redo that and disable certain sitemaps that are not important. That is true particularly for e-commerce sites. So then, next, what you want to do when you're looking at page indexing errors, look at all submitted pages. Because you've submitted the correct sitemap, as in the most important pages on your website, then what you see here may differ. But even that's the case, all these other page indexing problems could actually result in discovered currently not indexed by Google systems as well. Because this report tells you overall standing of your website to Google. If your website is set up incorrectly with many page with redirect issues, then as far as Google is concerned, that website doesn't follow its guidelines. Because if Google can have problems for redirection or page not found issues, then people who visit your website can also have those problems. That's why this report is important. So let's imagine page with redirect. How do you troubleshoot that? What you can do is go to different parts of your website and look at the HTTPS setup by removing the S from the address and then hit enter. Your website should automatically redirect to the secure version. You can also remove the S and remove the www if you're using it. If you're using the plain domain, then add the www to see what happens. And it should go to the correct address as shown in your sitemap. So I'm showing you troubleshooting methods for discovered currently not indexed. Yeah, don't listen to people telling you, oh, that page is important. Yeah, inspect URL and click submit to Search Console. Because if it's not in Google's index, because of Google systems, then there's no point trying to force Google to index it. That's why you want to run the troubleshooting methods first. Then what you want to do is you want to look at settings. Here you want to look at your crawl stats. And then surely, most websites can handle Google crawlers. But let's imagine that you're using some sort of a firewall or security plugin. If that's the case, you may want to triple check the rules that is within your website firewall. Because if Google can't crawl the website correctly, then it could have problems indexing things. Also, you have by file type. This will also be important because Google has to look at the CSS files, it has to look at JavaScript files, and here you should have no problems in terms of crawl stats. Because if there's problems here, let's look at the JavaScript information. And as you can see, the response has to be 200 OK. But if the response is not, you can type, let's say, 301 or moved and so on. Okay, so if we press on that, we can see, you know what? Google has seen the JavaScript file. Now, certain websites do generate version information, let's say version equals 6.1 and so on. That's why you want to look at the crawl stats for different file types, whether it's CSS, and make sure Google is seeing the correct one and it's not blocked. Ideally, you want to see 200 OK. HTML, 200 OK. If it is images, can Google access the images? So that's the critical part here. Other file types, depending on your setup, can Google access it? And here we can see there is some that's moved permanently, and you want to explore what they are. As we can see, the HTTP version is moved permanently. In my example, that's OK, and that's exactly what we want in this example. So then let's press on settings and let's look at robots.txt file. Here Google should be able to fetch it. Robots.txt file is a good file to let Google look at your entire website the way that you want, because it's the first file Google will request. That's why it should be able to fetch it if you do use one. If you do not use one, then you should definitely consider using one. Rankya website does have samples for WordPress. Some content management systems allow you to generate, or some SEO plugins allow you to generate this file. Now, within this file, it's smart to place your sitemap URL. So then it's like double making sure that Google understands the structure of your website. Now, what you want to do here is you can block Google for certain URL patterns. This is ideal for e-commerce sites or content management systems that generate many placeholder URLs. What does that mean? Let's look at, let's say, Search Console. Let's search this. And you can see there's 14 different pages. Now looking at this is the search results. That means using robots.txt directives, I can tell Google, saying to Google, you know what, Google, when you end up seeing search results pages, And Google can see thousands of them sometimes, depending on your website. And when you see them, you know what? Don't even crawl them. That's what this directive is saying here. Why? Because there's nothing unique on these URLs. In my example, I want to rank for the actual URL. Now, we can press on Ctrl U on our keyboard and then look at canonical URLs. Canonical URLs are very important, particularly for international sites, as in multilingual websites. If your website is set up incorrectly in terms of canonical URLs, then Google systems can get confused as to which page is the original page that Google should index. Okay. Not found 404, usually okay, but you want to double check that as well. And here, sometimes we can press on it, inspect the URL, and when we do, this report tells you if Google systems has seen that URL in sitemaps within the pages of your website. In my scenario, in this example, I can ignore this problem because it's not a problem per se, because there's nothing unique there. Okay, so let's look at, we've looked at canonical URLs too. So discovered, currently not indexed by Google systems, covers a wide variety of reasons. And I've just shown you mastery skills to look at. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Now, another thing that we can do to ensure that our website is seen by Google correctly is by using no-index directives. As we can see, this is just a search results page, correct? And if I press on Ctrl U on my keyboard to bring out the source code, here I can search for robots directives. And here I'm telling Google, you know what, Google? No index this search results page, which is the second page. If you're operating an e-commerce site, product variants, colors, sizes, all that, you can safely no index the variants, because ideally you want the product URLs to be indexed and ranked in Google. Make sense? Using these techniques, you can let Google better understand your entire website. Now, word of caution when you're using no index directive. You want to make sure that you're saying no index to placeholder URLs, but not your money-making pages. I'll show you a couple of samples. If you're using WordPress, you can do something like this. For most WordPress sites that is non-e-commerce, you can use these. I'll zoom in so that you can actually see what in the world is this. This is saying if it's paginated URLs, Google, you know what, forget about those URLs. There's nothing unique there. So do not index it and do not follow the links within it. For paginated URLs, which are these, as in this page, next page, all the posts, these are paginated URLs. And I can safely tell Google, you know what, forget about them. If you have private pages that is not public, perhaps you want to use no index, because you don't want those pages in Google, correct? For blog posts, front page, important pages, or important categories, you want Google to index those. And everything else, you can say no index. Now, do not use this for e-commerce sites, but rather get an idea as to what's going on. If you're using popular content management systems such as, let's say, Shopify, I'll show you that as well. Let's look at the theme or a typical Shopify. Well, let's edit the code. Make sure you back up first. Okay, let's edit. Okay, I'm making an honest mistake here. Let's look at the theme. Let's edit the code. This is just to show you the sample method for Shopify no index. You can, within your layout structure, you have theme liquid, through which you can tell search engines like Google, if you're looking at variants, if you're looking at collection pages, perhaps you want to say no index to Google. Saying to Google, you know what, Google, there's nothing unique there. Forget about them, but rather focus on important product URLs or important pages. Okay. So I know I've covered many things here, but this is the only way to understand how to fix discovered currently not indexed issue. And as you can see, so far I've shared with you insights that has been learned through many years of working on internet. Furthermore, there is one more thing that I have to tell you. If it's a brand new website, then you can perhaps double check this in a week time and then take a look at what Google is doing, as in what Google systems are doing. Because once you adhere to what I've shown to you thus far, then the next step is let Google, if it's a brand new website, let it, crawl the website because you fixed everything else for a week or two, and then double check. Because it sometimes takes time, especially in today's internet world, that Google values websites that has been putting out great content. So if it's a brand new website in a competitive niche, then it's going to take a bit of time for Google to understand your entire website. Also, the latest Google changes makes sure that the website is valued in Google search depending on certain industries. Let's imagine you're a psychologist in Melbourne, Australia. Then Google follows links on internet to make sure you are who you say you are, and the website adheres to Google guidelines. Now, Google has many different guidelines, but the most important for fixing discovered currently not indexed is once you fix up all the technical issues on the website under page indexing, starting from the sitemaps, the correct sitemap submitted to Search Console, and then looking at other things, focusing on all submitted pages. That's where you want to focus at first, and then surely look at the other problems so that there is no other major issues. Look at Google accessing your website through crawl stats to say, okay, can Google crawl everything, including CSS, JavaScript, other file types, images, because Google combines everything. And then look at robots.txt report. Make sure that Google can fetch it if you're using it. You may want to explore disallowing certain placeholder URLs such as search results page or variant URLs for e-commerce sites. And then you have to wait around. If it's a brand new website, wait around a couple of weeks and then say to yourself, okay, you know what? I waited a couple of weeks. Google is still not indexing. My website is functioning correctly. Google can crawl everything, CSS, JavaScript, all that. Then you need to perhaps refresh your content and update your content and make sure it adheres to helpful, reliable, people first content. Because in the age of artificial intelligence, many people simply say, okay, you know what, just use an AI to generate content. But Google can work that out. Finally, you want to make sure the linking structure of your entire website, particularly in the main navigation, is consistent. That includes internal linking on your website. Now, what does that mean? That means whatever the URLs you have on your main menu, they have to match the sitemap URLs. Okay, let me show you this example. Let's open the sitemap. These are the URLs. So if we look at the source code, this is the URL pattern. And that should be the canonical URL. That includes the images. It shouldn't be HTTP, non-www, and mix and match, all that stuff. URL consistency throughout your website is very important. That includes internal linking as well. Okay, which one can I show you? Let's look at this post. Let's search HTTP. As you can see, there are some external links and internal links, including images. They have to be consistent and they have to match. Internal links must match the URLs in the sitemap. Okay? So, now I'm more than certain that you've seen other tutorials telling you, oh, just do this, just do that. But if you're investing your time, money and energy into your online business and your website, discovered, currently not indexed due to Google systems, this is how you troubleshoot, and this is how you make sure that Google will index those URLs. I thank you for learning with Rankya, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.